third is Suarez. Goodell comes running in. He's under it, makes the catch. Here's the throw to the plate. It's in the air. He is out! Cameron Rick hangs on! Oh, man, what a play! Deep to right field. Way and second
So we did not check in at all in spring training. A lot going on, but it's already here again. Another season. It feels like just yesterday, Kirkring was throwing the ball into the dugout, but here we are back at it. I mean, we've missed a lot. We missed the WBC where it took Bryce Harper until his last at bat to talk people off the ledge, me included.
No, not me. Just you.
I said me included.
But not
me.
me.
You. Okay, I didn't say you. Okay. Yeah, I was generally kind of concerned about him. He looked cooked for the majority of that tournament. Yeah, Mark DeRosa should never manage a game again. That's a different story, though. Couple contract extensions to pitchers. So Luzardo, what, 155?
135.
135.
136. It was one more than Ranger. It was one more than Ranger.
I thought it was going to be 155. We were guessing on it, and it was 135. And then Sanchez got like a year bump / pay bump, sort of. What does it come out to, like 680 or something? 680?
I thought it was like, I didn't read the numbers.
I actually didn't read it. It was confusing.
I thought it was like 6 for 108, but maybe that was with the incentives and everything.
Oh, wait, okay.
The last
it's
year,
107.
Okay, so basically, I was doing the math. It took him from like $7.5 million a year, which is an absurd number, to like $17.5 million, which is still crazy. And then I think with incentives, I saw that last year can get up to like $40 million, which like
by then,
I mean, like good on them, like taking care of your own people, stuff like that. And looking at what School's going to get this year, and then you look at the production, I mean, still 17.5 per year is like not like you're paying Taijuan Walker more this year than what you're paying Christopher Sanchez still.
Which is fun.
It's good to see them do good business by their own people who, have been good stories for the organization and have kind of showcased the organization and Caleb Cotham's ability to develop arms. Like Sanchez as a prospect, spent 6 years in the complex league. I think as a prospect, his changeup was like a 45 grade out of 80 on that scale. And now it's the best pitch in baseball. And it's not particularly close when you look at the contact numbers, the slugging numbers, the whiff rate, stuff like that. So like he deserves 37.5, but jumping him from 7.5 to 17.5 is good faith. They're doing good business. It doesn't kill them in the grand scheme of it, considering the money you have coming off the book after this season. So all in all, like locking those two guys up, Luzardo and Sanchez long term, definitely helps, because free agency with all these pre-arbitration contracts and extensions that we're starting to see, free agency sucks. So it's good to, especially in Luzardo's case, not let him get there, because,
and with the lockout too, they got both these guys secured before anything with that.
Yeah, and like 135 for Luzardo, yes, he's only had one healthy season, but like if he strings together what he did last year, again this year, he's looking at a contract that starts with a 2. So like it's a pay bump, and yes, there's some injury risk, but realistically with that number and where contracts are in the sport, with what Skubal appears to be asking for, and rightfully so, like obviously Luzardo's not Skubal, but the stuff's electric when it's on. The playoff start was incredible. So realistically, signing Luzardo for what Ranger Suarez signed for, and, not a knock on Ranger, but in 2026, Luzardo stuff plays a lot better than Rangers.
Yeah, and, if big if here, but if Andrew Painter and Gage Wood both work out, you kind of have an inexperienced, or not an inexperienced, but a cheaper rotation going forward with the four of them. And then whatever, Noel, I guess, will still be there. And like Wheeler kind of is opening the door to post 2027 now. So yeah, all of a sudden, like, you kind of could save some money on the pitching staff because you're going to eventually have to commit to Duran if he has another good year. And they are going to have to eventually sign bats because it's just they've missed on so many. And the prospects are, we'll see. I mean, we're going to talk about a couple of them from the offensive standpoint, but it's a lot of we'll see.
Not to nerd out because it seems like the nerds are going, both ways with this debate. But you mentioned two young arms, like people are freaking out over Andrew Painter's like pitch shape, which I read into a fair amount of analytics and stuff like that, but I don't still fully grasp what pitch shape is. To me, it's more important to see him locating and breaking bats, which he's been doing a good job of. It looks like the fastball is life to me, but I don't know enough about pitch shape. But Pitch Profiler tweeted out Gage Wood's start the other day in the spring breakout thing, and he was as electric could be. So, he's, I believe, a little bit of an older arm, but oddly enough doesn't have a ton of innings traveled on him in college because he was hurt. Like even when he threw the no-hitter last year for Arkansas in the College World Series, like he only had like 35 or 40 innings on him in the season just because he was hurt for the beginning of the year, and they kind of used him in spurts here and there. So older arm with not a lot of innings could be interesting. I don't think we see him this year.
That's what I was going to ask, yeah.
It's really crowded, and it seems like they're insisting on using him as a starter, which, like, fine by me. So, like, I don't think we see him this year, but you never know with injuries. What does Wheeler look like? I think with Wheeler's age, Nola's had a really good spring in terms of velocity, what he's looked like. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that last year was the first time he's been injured in 11 years in the majors. So I think he bounces back. But, those guys are obviously older, coming off of an injured season and a big procedure for Wheeler where he's, down a rib now. I know he hates it, but we're probably going to see a little bit more six-man rotation than we're used to. So you might get a few spot starts from Wood towards August or September if, he looks good in the minors. But a lot of interesting pieces that, we haven't really had in the past. I saw a tweet 10 years ago today. Pete McKinnon named Jeremy Hellickson the opening day starter. So that's definitely leaps and bounds better than where we were a decade ago.
Yeah, that is actually crazy. That was 10 years ago. Yeah, I mean, I'll get into some of the pitching depth that they got going on, and how Wood plays into that. I will say in the past, they've been aggressive when they've had college pitchers, Nola, Kirkring, guys that, spent less than a year pretty much in the minors. Now Wood does have more of an injury history, as you said, and I think he needs to develop more of his secondary pitches. The fastball's there, but yeah, we'll see with him. Let's get into the roster. So we got infielders and catchers, Real Muto, Marchand, the Stubbs thing.
Done.
I know what they were trying to do because they don't have a lot of catching depth in the system, which is their own damn fault because they don't draft catchers for some reason. Yeah. But yeah, just trying to play him in the outfield, absolutely ridiculous. Harper, Stott, Turner, Bohm, no surprises there. Sosa, no surprise. And then Moore, who was kind of good for the Mariners. He has a Gold Glove as the utility guy. They started doing that
great glove
years ago. Yeah. So he makes the team. Outfield might be the worst in baseball, if I'm being honest. Marsh, Crawford, Garcia, Kemp. So one guy who's not even an outfielder, really. And then Schwarber at DH. That outfield stinks. And I'm going to get into this. That outfield sucks.
Terrible.
Starting rotation with Wheeler starting on the IL, but Matt Gelb said he's going to do rehab with the Iron Pigs on Saturday.
Yeah.
April 15th, 20th? Not out of the question. We thought he was cooked until at least Memorial Day.
Yeah. So I saw a report like a month and a half ago that said, it's probably closer to April than June, but it's going to be like in that May range. Like I took that as like May 10th, not April 10th. Like he threw 29 pitches today. I'd love to see like velocity numbers on that and stuff, but obviously
I know he was at like what 93 about a week ago.
Yeah, but it was like on the backfields in Clearwater to like you and me. So they're not going to publish anything, but it'll be good to see him throw. Rehab starts this weekend. Obviously you hope they don't rush it, but I think at this point Wheeler,
he wants to. I don't think they want to, but
like we've seen. My thing is they know, like Wheeler's had dead arm at least once, like every season the last 2 seasons, and this past year, right around the time where he normally gets the dead arm,
which is why we didn't think much of it.
Yeah. So like right around the time where it normally happens, it was happening, but it was obviously a lot more serious. So I tend to think that he's the highest paid pitcher in the sport right now, or up there, depending on, I forget who all signed what, but
I'm trying to think. But
he's at like 45 AAV. They're not going to be dumb in terms of how they approach it, and he's hinted at retirement a lot. Like this is going to be his last contract. Like you said, some interviews this offseason have opened the door, but like it's not like he's Andrew Painter where he's young and eager to get out there. Like as sad as it is to say, like it's coming to the end for Wheeler. So like I have to believe that they're not going to be stupid about it. And they've upgraded their pitching lab in Clearwater so much. So like they have every number, every metric, every data point under the sun down there. And that's where he's going to be. And that's where he's been rehabbing. So like, I have to believe that they're not rushing it and they're doing the right thing. And, like I said earlier, I think we see more 6-man rotation just because of that fact.
Yeah. So no surprises. The starters, Sanchez, Nola, Luzardo, Walker, Painter, and they will start in that order, with Sanchez getting the opening day nod. No real surprise there. The bullpen, I guess, is kind of where I wanted some of your feedback. So obviously Duran, Keller, who was iffy at times in the World Baseball Classic and then got good towards the end of it. Early on, he was a little shaky. Alvarado, who's dialed it back, obviously, with the non-PEDs right now, but still looks really good. Banks, he's had an iffy spring, I'd say. Bolin, who was good this spring. Zach Pop, making this team is a little scary, I think. And then Backus made it, and Tim Meza, who was back after we were pounding the table for him in the middle of last year because of how bad the middle of the bullpen was. Somehow makes the team. Kirkering starting the year on the IL. I know it was a hamstring thing. I said conspiracy theory. They didn't want to announce his name with the opening day lineup in case he got booed and it like screwed with him. Conspiracy theory. But I think he does need some more time. I know he got into a couple spring training games, but we'll see. And then I honestly think they have a decent amount of depth with young guys down in AAA and AA that they could maybe bring up. I'm excited to see Alex McFarland. He had a really good spring. So if he comes up, he's one I'm looking forward to. I think this is a good bullpen. I think obviously having Duran for a full year and having a really good righty setup guy and a really good lefty setup guy, I don't think they've had both of them from both sides to go in the 8th inning really before. So I like the back three, but it's kind of going to see if guys like Bolin and Backus become something, I think.
Yeah, I think going into I don't know about you. I know we ranted about it. I was, demanding that once I saw the Harry Ford trade with Seattle, like why didn't we get Strom in that kind of conversation? Like, what the heck are we doing? You talked about there's really no catching in this system. And then I saw Bolin pitch, and they're kind of addicted right now to getting these relievers that have minor league options. So they have this flexibility to shuffle stuff around. And Bolin has 6 options, and he's kind of just like a demon now. Like he pumps high 90s, The movement's great. He's a big body, so he's kind of deceptive. The ball jumps out of his hand. So, like, obviously Strom was really productive for this team. You were banging the drum since May of last year that the back-breaking home run was coming, and it did. It was as predictable as ever. So, like, I was a big Strom fan. Glad that experience is over because I don't think he ages well. And Bolin seems like he's got really good stuff that I'm excited to see Cotham work with. But my big concern in going into this season about a month ago was how do we get lefties out? Like Soto's in our division.
Yeah.
Matt Olson is in our division. We're going to have to get through Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, all these big lefty bats that are going to factor
now too.
Yep, that are going to factor into playoffs, division, wild card races, stuff like that. And just, Kyle Backus getting him for free is like kind of crazy. Not free, but like minuscule. Like he is funky. It looks like Andrew Miller pitching. Like he is a long limbed guy that sweeps the ball across from the left side. Like he is extremely deceptive. I haven't really seen the numbers from the spring, but like just the profile and the pitch mix and the way that he kind of approaches hitters, mixing that with how Caleb Cotham likes to, wrinkle in the sweeper or work on sweepers with pitchers. Like I think he's going to be a problem for left-handed hitters. And then, I've seen videos. I haven't really seen news in terms of how he's going to factor into the roster and stuff, but the dude we drafted out of Iowa last year is kind of that same profile, Cade Overmuller.
That's what I was going to bring up, yeah.
He's a long lefty that I saw a video of him this week or over the weekend where he kind of does that same thing. I saw a behind home plate point of view, and he sweeps across. The ball's coming from behind left-handed hitters. So, like, seeing – they definitely have a target in terms of who they want to, get in the bullpen from the left-handed side. Guys that are long, that kind of are deceptive. Strom was even, the first of that mold. He didn't throw as hard, but, he approached hitters that way. And, we've seen profiles like that be effective. Tyler Rogers is really effective coming from the ground, even though he's a righty. So, I'm not as worried about that after seeing Bacchus pitch. Obviously, Alvarado's a question mark, and he was incredible last year for what we thought he'd be, but you're not going to get a replicated year from Tanner Banks. It is what it is. But
yeah, I'm expecting some painful outings from him.
With Obermuller, I think that they're able to kind of backfill that with depth, like you were talking about, and I feel a little bit more confident in terms of getting guys out from the left side. I think the righties are really good. Obviously, Duran, when he's on, the stuff is always going to play. I don't worry about Kirkring one bit. The stuff's really good, and we saw him develop kind of a third pitch last year to get guys out. So he's not just that 2-pitch reliever where if the sweeper's not on that night, he's kind of screwed because, it's such an effective pitch for him. If it's off even the slightest, guys are just going to spit on it. And then, Keller's really good, except he's already developed early onset Phillies where he can't throw the ball to bases in the World Baseball Classic.
So bad.
But the stuff's really good. He's had a few hit or miss years as a reliever, but last year he was obviously electric. So, it's been impressive to see. And, we've been saying it for a few years, but this is how you can kind of build a bullpen when you're not spending $10 million to find a bullshit closer every year, like Craig Kimbrell or Corey Knebel or, Jordan Romano. Like
even Estevez, yeah.
You can get your backstop in the end of the bullpen and then plug and play these guys that have, signature pitches or deceptive ways that they go about attacking hitters. Like it's nice to see that they actually I think this is the best bullpen, at least the way that I look at it. I think this is the best bullpen that we've had in a while.
At least I think to start a season.
Start of the season for sure. Like last year, the bullpen at the start of the year last year was not good. I didn't have faith in it at all. And then the Alvarado suspension relatively early in the season. I didn't know how they were going to get out. But, they still put up really good numbers. And that's a credit to Cotham. And we jeered at the contract, but JT does call a pretty good game now.
Mm-hmm.
Early in his Phillies career, I didn't think so, but now I think for the most part he's pretty solid. So I'm pretty confident in the bullpen, and then obviously the starting pitching. I think Walker and Painter in the back of that rotation to start the season scares me a little bit, but like once Wheeler comes back and you're kind of plugging and playing those guys at the 5 and 6 spots, I think they have a really, really good rotation. And it should be, on par with how they were last year, assuming that Wheeler comes back healthy.
Yeah, and I think, the other thing is when Wheeler does come back, I think you got to let Painter ride.
Mm-hmm.
You got to let him in there. Walker is used to the back and forth from the bullpen and the starting rotation now. This is pretty much the third year he's done it here. I just think sending Painter down, unless he's absolutely getting torched, like an ERA over 5, I think you got to let him work through some stuff and keep his confidence up. I think demoting him right away could be an issue. Mm-hmm. So definitely keep him up. Two other guys I want to touch on before we get into some predictions. One, I totally glossed over the Rojas suspension.
Who?
Hysterical. Rojas.
Who?
Right. Yeah. At least he's not eligible for the playoffs, so Rob Thompson can't keep him in there for the most critical at-bat of the season. So that's good news.
He'd probably bumped him anyways.
Yeah. What an idiot that guy is.
Hey, at least he's not DeRosa.
Yeah, that's true. And then, Aiden Miller did not get into really any spring action because of some lingering back issue. So Bryce Harper 2.0 here. Little concerning with that. I just don't know. I think someone in the chat, it might have been you, shared that report about wouldn't it be a shock to see him in Philadelphia in June or whatever, some prospect thing came out and said that. Yeah, one, I don't think that's happening now.
At shortstop, nonetheless.
Right, that's what it said, right? Also, outside of an injury to Stott, Turner, and Bohm, that's pretty long term. I don't know where he gets up here. Honestly, I think the outfield is his best path to playing time this season. And then, if you don't re-sign Bohm, you kind of see, start him at third base at the beginning of spring training next year. But if the bat can play and he can, the speed can play on the bases, I don't know how much we trust that Otto Kemp Marsh platoon or Adolis Garcia to get through a full year and not strike out 250 times. I think the outfield here, if he's mashing in AAA, needs to become a possibility. They did it with freaking Rhys Hoskins. Now that team sucked, but if you're going to do it with someone as unathletic as that, why can't you do it with Miller?
I mean, dude, they played 7 first basemen in a lineup that year.
Right.
I know a different regime, different manager, all that stuff.
Right. Because didn't they Carlos Santana play third one game and Justin Bour was
Justin Bour. Tommy Joseph was probably still catching at that point.
The team was so bad.
Darren Ruff was somewhere.
I don't know how they won as many games as they did, honestly.
They were in first place in August.
Yeah. Insane. But yeah, if you're right, it was a different regime.
Catherine Magic.
Yeah. But if you're going to do it with guys like that, why can't even Otto Kemp? I think Aiden Miller's a better athlete than Otto Kemp.
Yeah. I mean, Aiden Miller stole 60 bases last year.
Right. I don't know what you think, but I think that maybe the best possible Phillies lineup this season, if Bohm's producing, has Aiden Miller somewhere in this outfield equation at some point, if he's, playing well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's 20, 21, whatever, how old he is. He's super young.
He will be 22, actually, yeah.
I'm not trying to rush him and, mess, you joke that it's Bryce 2.0. We've seen back issues linger, even, throughout seasons. And when you don't anticipate signing Bohm and, if you need production come August, you might even try and move Bohm then. I'm not in a rush to get Miller, up here in May. I think as much as we complain about the Phillies and the offense, like we just highlighted the pitching should be good enough where, the $1 billion offense should be able to hold their own through the regular season, barring injuries, stuff like that. So I'm not going to break my back if I'm the front office or the coaching staff or the training staff to get Aiden Miller to Philadelphia, unless it's an absolute necessity where, like you said, a left field platoon where, maybe Kemp's not producing or Bohm's not producing and, Kemp's playing third or Sosa's playing third and you need to get a righty off their feet a little bit more. It's concerning because he, there was an article today that he still really hasn't had a timeline. Not great. So I'm not like, oh, we got to get him up here soon. Yeah. And, like you said, we all, joke or complain about Bohm, and based on the lineup today, we might be going through another season where he's hitting cleanup again. And we'll have the 280 average and the 310 OPS in cleanup with, the 390 slug. There's not going to be any juice there. It is what it is. But like this core is old. You can't jeopardize ruining Aiden Miller for the sake of 3 months. Like you have to be smart about it.
I also think though he's got to get major league at bats this year before you anoint him the starting third baseman next year.
Yeah, definitely. And overall, like with your point, yes, I agree. I think the best version of the lineup is him playing, and he's 100% athletic enough to play left field. And he said that earlier in the spring before he got hurt that he'd play wherever could get him on the field in the majors. Like I think he's got the right attitude about it. He's got that kind of energy. I don't think he's scared. And like we were talking about it last year, it is a little concerning that he didn't pick it up until he survived like his third trade deadline. Like I don't know what that kind of looks like, but I do think the talent is there. And obviously,
I think he knows now, though, he probably won't get traded.
That's yes, for sure. And like the thing, I don't hold them, as the Bible, because once upon a time, J.P. Crawford and Ahmed Rosario were the number one prospect in baseball. But like his second half last season catapulted him up to like number 6 or like consensus top 20 prospect everywhere, number 6 somewhere. I think it was Baseball America maybe. So like people love the profile. He's a big kid and the swing's pretty short. So like I think it plays against velocity. He hit velocity really well. So like I think it plays. You just got to get him at bats and hopefully he stays healthy to get them.
Yeah. I mean, this back thing is going to be an issue, and it's definitely going to push his timeline back. But, they don't have a lot of prospects that they can deal because the top 3 are going to be on your team this year if I'm counting Miller. Painter and Crawford are everyday guys for you right now. So you don't have a lot to go get a bat at the deadline. And I think I mentioned this when we were talking about like the post-Bichette thing. There might not be a lot of guys on the trade block that are worth a damn because there's not a lot of good guys on expiring contracts or even a year and a half of control. Like a Duran situation. Like, I don't know. Like, I think you kind of need Miller to maybe be something at some point this year.
You're forgetting that 2 franchises would start building their franchise around Dante Nori today.
Right. The Dante Nori thing is interesting. The thing is, he is so repetitive of Marsh and Crawford that one of them's got to go, and it should be Marsh. Let's just get that out there now.
Nori probably, if you're looking at it, Marsh has the least amount of value just because of the situation and what the commodity is. Yeah. Like, yes, if you're the Phillies and you want the Phillies to be the best version of himself, the answer is Marsh. Yeah. But if you're the Phillies trying to improve the team today, Nori doesn't slot in and improve the team. Right. So, you trade Nori with the most value. But like I'm joking about that quote, by the way, because Alex Rodriguez said it, who owns the Timberwolves, and Dante Nori's dad is a scout for the Timberwolves. So
did not know that. Okay.
I'm sure 2 teams actually did not say that they'd start their franchise tomorrow with
one of
Dante
those
Nori.
teams was the Timberwolves. The other one was the Phillies.
He had a great World Baseball Classic. He made the World Baseball Classic team. He hit
Team Italy might have been the other team, actually.
He hit home runs. Like, I'm not knocking Nori. He shocked me, I'll be honest, with the performance because I didn't think he had that in him.
No.
But like everyone was like, holy shit, is Nori like the guy? Are we wrong with Crawford? Like, yes, Crawford did not have a great spring at the plate number-wise, but like nobody said that about Dante Nori. Alex Rodriguez employs his father. It is okay.
I actually didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, they said on the broadcast that Nori's dad like left one of their pool play games early because he had to go to a Timberwolves game.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I'll say also big year for Bryson Stott.
Yes.
Really good spring. The joke, which I was always in on, that dude was swinging a telephone bat last year. It was so heavy and so slow.
Yeah.
If it's quicker and he can spray line drives, it's big for him and his career, but it also makes Arun Escobar more expendable for this team in a trade too. So, we talked about Nori being repetitive to Marsh and Crawford. Like, Escobar has to play second, and he's a big second baseman. He sure as hell isn't playing first anytime soon. And he's not playing third. And, it's like if he's going to go somewhere, he's going to be like a Dan Uggla looking second baseman, Neil Walker, like those type of dudes. But yeah, so I think, it's a big season for Stott in himself, but we're also going to see if he's having a big year, Arun Escobar might be the prize prospect they try to move.
Yeah. And, we talk about it. We've talked about it the last 2 years. We harped on it. The path to get the Gold Glove finally for Stott is there because Brendan Donovan is gone. He is in He is in the American League. It's really
I was going to get to awards, and I was going to bring up Stott for like the 8th straight year.
Off the top of my head, it's Stott and Nico Horner. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Like, that's the Gold Glove race right there for second base.
Cattell didn't win last year, did he?
No. I doubt it.
No, I think it was Horner.
Yeah, I mean Horner's a freak, but
yeah,
one guy down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want?
It might be a health thing. Whoever stays healthiest this year, we'll see.
Do you want to do the Bryce talk?
What about him?
You tell me. You're the one that's saying he's cooked.
Well, I'm a little worried. I think that the WC did not go great outside of the home run, obviously, and then it went as good as it could have, and that lasted like 3 seconds.
Are you forgetting the spring training part of it, where he hit 315 with a home run and 16 at bats?
Yeah, I missed. Like, I forgot about February. Yeah.
People saw the nationally televised 4 games, and yes, he missed.
You know what the thing was? It was him harping on the Aaron Judge behind him thing. Taking shots at Bohm, and he looked so bad with Judge behind him. And the other thing was he was batting second for that team, and he won't bat second for the Phillies. But there was so much he was doing that was just annoying people, and it started to annoy me the more people were talking about it. I'm like, what? They kind of have a point there. I got to see it though. I got to be honest with you. I have to see him have a bounce back year because there were times last year where he looked disinterested. There were times in the WBC where he looked disinterested up until he hit the home run. I got to see a little more. I got to make sure he's back before I say he's back. And, he had a weird offseason with the whole Dombrowski thing and the T-shirts and the, they made it for me, so I wore it. Like, okay. Wore it in public on a video. Like, I got to see him actually do it and look interested and kind of have that fire he had in 2019 when he first got here. And then, we saw it again when they started making playoff runs. It's got to come back. And it's also got to coincide with Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber getting close to what they did last year. I don't think either, those two are not going to combine for the Triple Crown again.
No.
I don't think we talk about that enough. The two of them combined for the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
And I also don't know if both of them are going to stay as healthy as they did last year. I mean, I think Schwarber had no significant time, and I think Trey had that back issue early in the season where he missed 7 to 10-ish games or whatever it was.
And then at the end of the season when he hurt his groin or whatever in Miami.
played it cool until the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are issues too, because those two are just as important. I'm worried about all three of them in a sense. Those two replicating and staying healthy, and him, like, is he cooked or not? Like, I know it was early, so the timing wasn't great, but the bat speed of fastballs was not there in the WBC, and it was against guys that were major leaguers, like Michael Lorenzen, who's not a good major leaguer, but a major leaguer.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see how this early season goes. I mean, and they face a very tough pitching staff to start this season. I don't think we talk about that enough. They're going to go Valdi, DeGrom, Gore, right?
Yeah.
I know the Rangers were switching things up to have DeGrom have the home start or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, like that's something to look at. Like they're facing Gore, so it's dumb of me to say this, but they started the year last year with the Nationals pitching.
Yeah.
And they pretty much, outside of the first 6 innings of Gore, they handled it. They lost the one game, but they still put up some runs. They scored a lot of runs in those games. We're going to see how they do against a team with a really good starting staff, and they don't have a great bullpen, but they have a really good starting staff. So we're going to see how that goes out of the gate. I'm not fully back in on Harper yet. I kind of got to see it a little bit. He worries me. The body language worries me at times. I just have to see him interested before I believe he's interested.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not going to be oblivious. He missed fastballs that he should have hit that were either, up in the zone or center cut in the World Baseball Classic. But, like, people acting like he's never swung a bat before when he had a great week of spring before the World Baseball Classic, and then he went in a 4-game slump when, the calendar was March single-digit dates. Like, pitching's always going to be ahead of hitting at this point in the season. And
that was evident with the way that team swung the bats.
He was, and I know it's stupid to say this, but Houston's a pretty big stadium, and against Team Italy in pool play, he had a 406-foot flyout. I get it. It's an out, but he barreled a fastball center cut to the deepest part of the field. Like, the timing was just off a little bit early, and then, the pitch that he hit for the home run in the game was 93 with movement on, the inside part of the plate, which is obviously the typical lefty nitro zone, but we've seen him struggle with that pitch at points, especially last season, where he wasn't able to get to it as fast as he wanted to. He was getting jammed on it, and we saw those lazy flyouts to left field a lot. So, like, to see him, and yes, the tournament numbers were not great, but to see him get to that pitch in the middle of March was encouraging for me. And, obviously we have extremely high standards for him because, he was the first big contract in this era of baseball. And, he's been on magazine covers since he's 14. And, early in his Phillies career, he was, as outspoken could be. And last year he didn't have the best year, and he was a lot more reserved than we've normally seen him. He still had an 850 OPS. The numbers weren't incredible, but you take it. And in the grand scheme of things, if you took his contract and saw $26 million a year, and you just did a blind resume and said, this is not Bryce Harper, player A hit 261 with 27 homers, 75 RBIs, 844 OPS, making $26 million a year, you'd be like, okay, nice, good year with, above average defense at first base. Be like, that's great. And then you see it's Bryce Harper, and everyone's like, oh my God, this guy's garbage. He's done. He can't get it. He can't get to anything. The GM saying he's not elite. Like, yeah, it wasn't an elite year, but for the money, it was a productive year. And, I think he recognizes that it wasn't up to the Bryce Harper standard. He said this year that he wants to walk 150 times. And that's such a big part of, I think, why he was, not Harper last year. He was out of the zone the most he's ever been in his career. And part of that's because of, the protection behind him. And he gets eager at the plate and wants to do damage, especially in big spots. I know you were all over, oh, he's not clutch anymore, even though, he still had a relatively good average in clutch spots, and then we saw what he did last week in the clutchest of spots. So, like, he still got it, and it's just getting back in the zone, controlling the strike zone, and trying to see as many fastballs as he can, where he swung out of the zone so much last year that I think he knew they were going to throw him curveballs and off-speed pitches and sliders and stuff. So he was trying to sit on those, which made him late on the fastball. He was guessing instead of recognizing or just, having swing thoughts. And I think that's just what threw him off. So if he can get back into the strike zone and understand that, walking 100, even, his career high is 130 something. If he could walk 110 times or 115 times and just like let pitchers know that he's not going to go outside of the zone. Like, Bohm is what Bohm is. We talk about him enough on this podcast to know that, we're not the biggest fans of him. Don't love him hitting cleanup, especially. But, like, the numbers with runners in scoring position are fine. He's not going to slug. He's not going to hit home runs. I'm not falling for the March bullshit again where he hits 2 home runs off the tiki hut in left field.
Like I said, his career slugging percentage in spring training is 100 points higher than his regular season career slugging percentage.
But, like, the batting average and, numbers with runners in scoring position are fine. So, like, if you have Turner, Schwarber, Harper, 2 of those guys getting on base because Harper decides to walk more or at least see more pitches, like, you're going to be a fine offense. And, maybe speaking of walking more, I know the outfield shit. I'm not buying it either. But, like, Adolis had a good back half of spring where, he walked 8 times and struck out 5. Swing and miss is a big problem with him because he's kind of a home run or bust guy. But, like, if he's providing enough in I think he hit 6th today behind Stott. Like,
he's supposed to hit 6, yeah.
He's enough of a power threat where, say, Bohm's giving you what Bohm gives you, and Garcia's, coming out of the gate hitting 250, 260 with a few home runs in the month of April. It's like, okay, shift him up to 4. All of a sudden you have the pop threat there with, 2 guys on base because Harper's being more selective. Like, the strength of the lineup to me comes down to, is he able to get back into the strike zone? Because that just opens up your 4 through 7 hitters just having more opportunities to drive in runs. And I know, we don't love them. They're not the best 4 through 7 hitters, but you talked about the spring Stott had. And I hate to say this because we've done it before, but Marsh was fine for the second half of last season. I don't think he's a good outfielder by any means, but, like,
he's just so bad in the playoffs.
At some point, the numbers, for sure. At some point, the numbers don't lie. And, like, I don't know what JT looks like this year, but regardless, if the top 3 guys get on base more with Harper walking more or just, like, being more selective, getting better pitches to hit, it's going to change the complexion of the lineup like tenfold.
Yeah. No, it will. All right, we got to wrap this up with predictions. So I think 2 years ago, I took them to win the World Series. They didn't. So last year I took them to miss the playoffs. They made the playoffs, but did not win the World Series. I don't know. I'm interested what a healthy Braves team looks like. The Mets have reshuffled pretty much everything. Added Bichette, added Peralta, added Marcus Semien, added Luis Robert, who I know is just going to kill us.
He's going to hit bombs.
Yeah. Because I was pounding the table for them to just do it for like 2 years. But I don't know where they are in the pecking order of this division. And I think if Wheeler comes back April 15th versus June 15th, like, it's a significant development in the race for the division. I think these teams are going to beat up on each other. The Nationals, for some reason, are going backwards, like trading Gore and like whatever the hell they're doing. The Marlins might be frisky, but they're probably just going to trade more of their pitchers come July.
Stowers is already hurt.
Yeah. They have like that Xavier Edwards guy who's okay and stuff. Like, I could see them being frisky, like 70-something wins. So I think, though, like, this division's going to beat up on each other. I think the NL as a whole is really good. The Cubs are going to be good. the Brewers will still be decent. Like the Reds are supposed to be better. Like the Pirates with that pitching staff could, catch on a weekend. And we
And
know
they upgraded the offense with Brandon Lau and O'Hearn.
And like we know what the NL West is. So like I think outside the Dodgers, like I'd be shocked if like really an NL team won maybe over 96 games.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at a lot of teams between like 88 to 95 wins. So I'm going to put the Phillies at 92. I think they win the division by like a game. I think it's fun in September. Like for once, it's actually like super fun.
Yeah.
But I think they collect a couple wins early in the year that they shouldn't because Wheeler came back and won a couple games for them. But I don't see how they could win the World Series when you have to go through the Dodgers to get there. That team, they added the best outfielder available. They added the best bullpen arm available, and everybody else is back. I don't know. Like Wheeler, Sanchez, and Luzardo. I can't even say that because they pretty much did that this freaking past year, and it didn't matter because they didn't hit.
I mean, they were down Wheeler.
Yeah, I know, but still, like I think you got enough.
Nolan Ranger.
You got enough out of that Nolan Ranger start for me to say equal to Wheeler in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely.
So I don't know. I'm going to say it happens in the championship round this time, but I just don't see how they get past the Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Dodgers are the West for sure. Cubs are the Central. And then I do think I'm a little – what'd you say, 92?
Yeah.
I have us around the 90-91 thing, but I do think we win the division. So I don't know what that winning number is. Like I think – so if you asked me a month ago, I was on the Braves comeback train. I think that lineup is super talented. Obviously, Profar going out is –
Profar thing again, yeah.
A problem. But like now that Schwellenbach's down for – is he a surgery guy? Schwellenbach? Like
I forgot about that.
But Schwellenbach's down.
I think they were like holding out. I didn't look at that recently.
Strider's looked like garbage, and he's hurt now too with an oblique. Chris Sale's 38, so I don't know what that looks like, even though they just extended him. And Reynaldo Lopez like averaged like 89 on his fastball the other day. So like I was on the Braves train, but even with how good I think that lineup is, Sean Murphy's kind of regressed a lot since they traded for him. Drake Baldwin's really good, but like I don't think that lineup is going to be able to hit enough to outweigh their starting pitching issues. They did sign Robert Suarez and re-sign Iglesias, so the back end of their bullpen's really good, but I don't think the bats outweigh what their starters are going to give them. So I think it's going to come down to the Phillies and the Mets. I still don't trust the Mets pitching. I'm not the biggest Freddie Peralta guy. He's, objectively an elite starting pitcher by the nature of his numbers, but like it's a high pitch count. It's not always efficient, and it's a big fastball percentage. So like,
he's a Brewer. I mean, that's
that's
what they all were.
Edwin Diaz to Devin Williams is a downgrade.
That's what I was going to say. I don't trust their bullpen as much. Yeah.
I don't think the bullpen's great. And, like it was a bad contract for sure, but like Brandon Nimmo to me is a better baseball player than Marcus Semien is at this point in his career, especially against the Phillies.
Yeah.
Bichette's a really good player. Led the American League or was towards the top of the American League in hits. You didn't do enough on the offensive end to replace what Pete Alonso gives you if you're the Mets. Like that's 40 home runs and 130 RBIs. Like Bichette's great, but like now, losing Alonso and Nimmo and back, like you're asking Soto to hit 50 home runs and 130 RBIs to just try and replicate what you're losing with Nimmo and Alonso. So like I think it's going to come down to us and the Mets, and I think the winning number somewhere around I'll go 91, and I think the Mets win like 90. Like you said, I think it's going to be close in September. It's going to be tight, but I'll say that we lose to the Dodgers in the divisional round again. I think is that possible? I'm trying to think of the.
It's possible if we were the wild card division winner.
I think the Cubs and the Dodgers are going to be better than us.
No, wait. I don't think it works that way. No, wait. Yeah, no, we wouldn't see them until the championship series.
Well, we saw them last year, and we both won our divisions.
But we were the 2 seed.
Okay, well, regardless, I think we lose to the Dodgers at some point. I think the Cubs are slightly better than us, but I could see like them tripping up in the playoffs just because I don't fully trust their starting pitchers in a playoff setting. They got Edward Cabrera, but I don't really know what that looks like down the road. I think he'll give him good innings in the regular season, but he just strikes me as a guy that can't really stay healthy. So like, I think we lose to the Dodgers, and like you said, I think it just comes down to their depth is so insane. Like last year, they were able to just like deploy Roki wherever they wanted, and he became like a good pitcher for like 2 weeks. Yeah. And now he stinks again. But like,
of course,
they paid Tanner Scott like $20 million to like not play.
Nick Castellanos, yeah.
And now they add Edwin Diaz to what was like their weakest part, the bullpen.
And they brought all those other guys back.
Everyone's back, and then you also had like Kyle Tucker. It's stupid, the embarrassment of riches that they have. And
they have the prospects to make a trade if they needed to.
Apparently, but like every Dodgers prospect ever stinks. Like every trade that's done.
Good PR, just good PR.
Yeah, and they like Jose DePaula and Zaire Hope like come out of nowhere and they're top 10 prospects. Whereas we draft Adam Hazley in the first round and, whatever. But like, yeah, they just have every opportunity to make every move because, Tucker's on a 4-year deal, but they'll just, if they trade him for a guy who's, if they have to overpay, like you said, to get one of these longer term contract guys that might be available at the deadline, it doesn't matter because they'll just have 2 guys that come out of nowhere to be top 15 prospects in like 2 years. So like,
yeah,
I really don't know how you beat them. I think like our roster's the closest in terms of competing with the Dodgers, but there's just so many regression candidates on our team. Like Schwarber's just unfortunately not going to hit 56 home runs again. And Turner probably isn't going to lead the league in hits again. He could. I think Turner's a lot more likely to do that than Schwarber is to hit 56. But, like, realistically, like, unfortunately, injuries just catch up. And we were, like you said, healthy last year. So
they were very fortunate. I know the Wheeler thing got bad, but outside of him, they were very fortunate with injuries.
Yeah. So I just assume that something – is going to happen to the lineup, as sad as it is to say, that will ultimately be our downfall.
Yeah. I think for the Dodgers is they get significant injuries. And I'm talking about like Ohtani and Yamamoto out for the year, like type stuff.
Yeah. That's and then you beat them. Then you just get Snell, Glass now, and whoever else. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a lot more optimistic than the last time we recorded, which was around the Bo doom and gloom thing. But yeah, I think we're probably the second or third best team in the National League. So, outside of the Dodgers, I don't think like the gap between us and the Cubs or the Cubs and us is all that large.
Let's do any award predictions, anything. You nailed the trade deadline last year.
I did. I was all over that.
I don't know if you want to run that back. To me, the trade deadline this year is just very confusing because outside of a significant injury, you're not adding a starter. The bullpen, I think, is deep enough internally.
It's an outfielder. If there's a move, it's an outfielder.
It's an outfielder. I just don't know who. Like, I don't know. I actually thought about this. Like, I've went and looked at like shitty teams. And like who has a righty outfielder that's on an expiring contract or like a 1.5-year contract. And I couldn't find anyone. I like Joe Adell. That was it. Joe Adell. That's what I found.
Yeah, because the last time we traded for a young Angels outfielder, it worked really well.
Right. He was the only thing that like clicked to me, Joe Adell.
I don't know. There's a guy in San Diego. They've been trying him out at first base. Maybe we get in the mix for him.
Oh God.
Yeah, no. Last year I was all over the reliever market, like I said, because I didn't think our bullpen was good. So I was on the Duran thing. No, I love Buxton.
Stunk in the WBC.
Yes, I love Buxton, and you could ask anyone who discusses Byron Buxton discourse with me regularly how much I wanted him to be a Philly last year. Yeah, the World Baseball Classic, I'm out. I couldn't be further out. That dude stunk.
Scary bad. And
like you were talking about Harper being cooked. That dude's actually cooked. He's garbage.
That was insanely bad. And he was coming off pretty much his best year in a while too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have any big trade deadline shots this year. We hinted at it. I'll go Stott gets his Gold Glove for awards. You know, I don't know how it's going to factor into the Gold Glove discussion, but I'll say JT gets another one just because he was perfect on challenges in spring training. I don't know how that factors in.
I don't. Yeah.
He's still got the arm, and he went 6 for 6 on challenges. I think it's going to somehow work its way into like the new framing metric. And, you know, he was a damn good framer. He's caught for so long. He's been widely regarded as the best fielding catcher in terms of those kind of metrics for a while, up until like maybe last year. So he obviously knows the strike zone, and he proved that in the spring with his challenges. So I'll go Stott and JT get Gold Gloves, and I'm all Harper Silver Slugger. I'm trying to think who the other first baseman in the National League would be. I guess, you know, Matt Olson bounce back.
Olson, Freeman, Michael Busch.
No, not Michael Busch.
All right, I'm just naming guys.
Yeah.
A lot of the good ones are in the AL with Olson over there now, or with Alonso. I mean Alonso.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Kurtz, Vinny, Alonso, like the guys who put up those kind of stats, especially Vinny with the RBIs. Like they're all in the American League. So like Harp gets back in the Silver Slugger mix and top 10 MVP, my guy, and I'm gonna be on you for it. Bad.
All right.
I screenshotted your chat in the group chat the other day.
Okay. That's why I wanted the new chat where you can't take screenshots.
Yeah, well, I got the receipt. Yep. Unfortunately, he's cooked.
I think it's the year of Sanchez. Opening day start, extension. We can't keep doing this Paul Skeens shit every year. Someone else has to win.
I did want to say, with the way that I didn't see the exact like way that his incentives were built, but like the last year it said that they could get up to like 40 million. If you're a GM, how smart is that? Like, you know, Skeens is in the National League. Just like load up, like, yeah, man, 20 mil if you get the Cy Young, you got it, and just make that contract look like so much better. And just like you're begging the guy to ball out. Worst case, like especially in Sanchez's case, he's worth 40 million. He's making 17. Yo, dude, 23 million if you go get that Cy Young, you got it. And it's like, okay, he's gonna shove because he wants that 40 million. But you know, Paul Skeens is probably gonna pitch to a 1-7 because he just adds a new pitch like every week. So it's like, hey, fine, we'll give you the 23 million escalator clause if you want it, but you're not gonna get it.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's close between those two, and I think the Phillies being a playoff team and the Pirates probably not.
I mean, it was.
Let's make that count for something.
Yeah, I'm saying, you know, I'm not trying to knock Sanchez. It's just like Skeens is like godly, but like realistically, looking at the numbers, like Sanchez probably could have won it last year, and realistically, nobody would have batted an eye. Yeah,
I mean, it needs a better PR team and like an LSU gymnastics girlfriend or something, I guess, but that'll help him out. What else do I want to put out there? That's crazy. Like
Painter rookie
of the year. I just like, is he on a pitch restriction? Like, is he on a restriction?
He shouldn't be.
Okay, that's where I was hesitant.
Like if it were me,
if he can only pitch like 120 innings, he's not going to win.
He pitched 5 months last year.
Okay, so if he's going the full 30-something starts, if he's healthy, like I'm going to put it out. I think so.
Like I'm not off base, right? He pitched in May.
Yeah, he technically did pitch all the time. Yeah, it wasn't good, but it was all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if he's on a restriction, I'll throw that one out there. Screw it.
Fine by me. That's an extra draft pick for us.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that shit. Yeah. That is worth it. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. I'm just interested if the deadline edition is Aiden Miller or they find someone for the outfield.
Yeah, I'm not calling my shot last year or this year. I'm retiring off my win last year.
Yeah, like I said, it's an interesting dynamic. You have a lot of guys entrenched in spots outside of an injury. Health-wise, if anyone's healthy, which we know isn't the case, but if they are, you don't need a pitcher on either side, bullpen or starter. It's just going to come down to if they want to upgrade this outfield. So I guess we'll see. You will get your normal 7 to 10 day check-ins from us as the season gets going on Thursday. This will probably come out Tuesday at some point. So, oh well, we'll see how this season goes.